Hello, students. Today we are going to take up a very famous sonnet by the great Elizabethan poet Edmund Spenser entitled as One Day I Wrote Her Name. But before we proceed any further, let me tell you people that this sonnet actually is a part of his love sonnet collection named Amoretti, and it is also known as Sonnet 75 because of its position in that book. So just let's have the text now. One day I wrote her name upon the strand, but came the waves and washed it away. Again I wrote it with a second hand, but came the tide and made my pains his prey. See, students, as I told you, that this sonnet is a part of his collection of love sonnets. So, naturally, this is also a love sonnet which he has dedicated to his beloved. And the theme around which this sonnet revolves is the permanence of love. He simply wants to prove that each and everything in this world is subjected to decay, but love is not so. So, let's have the text. The poet says that one day he was sitting at the bank, a river bank, and he wrote the name of his beloved on the sand. But suddenly the waves came and the name got washed away. It's very natural because on the you must have seen, if you have ever been got a chance to go to a beach, you must have seen that waves are all the time striking the shore and they wash away whatever is there on the shore. So simply the name was also washed away. Again I wrote it with a second hand, but came the tide and made my pains his prey. He said that second time again I wrote the name on the bank, and once again it was washed away because of the tides. So in both the cases, my pains, that means my efforts, my you can say labor to write down the name of my beloved on the sand were that proved to be futile because of the that being washed away by the waves. Vain man, said she, that dost in vain essay. Now the beloved was there with the poet, and when she saw what the poet was doing and how futile that work was, she said, O vain man, said she, that dost in vain essay. She said, this is all futile. O vain man, O man who is proud of his love, or you can say his attempt to prove his love. That means the poet, she said to the poet that you are doing this useless task. It is a futile task that you are doing. A mortal thing so to immortalize, because you are trying to make immortal something which is mortal. See, the beloved knows very well that one day she has to die. She is a mortal human being. So she says that you, O poet, you are doing something useless because you are trying to make immortal what is mortal. For I myself shall like to this decay. She said that one day I am also going to decay, just like this, just like the name is being washed away again and again. Similarly, one day I will also be wiped out from here. And eke my name be wiped out likewise. And she says that I am continuously telling you that one day I'll be also removed from this earth in the same manner. See, here in this particular quatrain, there is one thing noteworthy. Sometimes it is said that this dialogue has been said by the beloved, and many a times people say that actually it has been the, you can say, the sound that was interpreted by the poet, the sound of the waves that was interpreted by the poet. But whatsoever be the case, the simple thing behind this dialogue was to prove that whatever the poet was doing, according to a common person, that was a futile job, because he was trying to make something immortal which was quite obviously mortal. Not so, cod I. Let baser things devise to die in dust. But you shall live by fame. My words, your virtues, rear shall eternize. and in the heavens write your glorious name. Now, before I take up this quatrain, let me tell you, people, there are certain words which might be appearing new to you or strange to you, like cod eye or the spelling of virtues. So, here let me clarify that this is the archaic English or old English. That means at the time of Spencer, this type of English was in vogue. But now things have changed. Like cod eye, now we use said I. So this is not wrong. It is actually the English that was prevalent at the time of Spencer. So let's have the lines again. Not so, cod I. Let baser things devise to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. Now, the poet is justifying his act. He says, when the beloved said, you are trying a useless, you are doing a useless task to immortalize something which is mortal. He said, not so. It's not like that. What you are saying is true to baser things, those things which do not have high value, whether in the you can say in the sense of moral or in the sense of devotion, those things who are baser, let them die in dust. They are supposed to be mortal, but you shall live by fame. But you, O my beloved, you will always be eternal, because you will live of, by virtue of your fame. And who will make you famous? He gives the reply in the next line. He says, my verse, your virtues, rare shall eternize. I will write a poem in your memory, which will be covering all your virtues in it. And by, you can say, that poem, by virtue of that poem, you will become immortal. See, Spencer's time period was centuries ago, but still we are reading this poem. That means something which is written becomes eternal. And this fact has been proved very much by the popularity of Spencer, even in this what you call Gen Y century. So he says whatever he was saying was correct, absolutely correct. He says, let those things who are baser, who are mean, who are lesser sort of things, let them die, let them be wiped out from the earth. But you, oh my beloved, you will always be there in this world, because I am going to write a poem in your, which will be celebrating your virtues. And by that poem, your virtues, your qualities will be eternal. And in heaven and in the heavens write your glorious name. And by virtue of that poem, you will be so popular, as if that thing will make you heavenly. So in this particular quatrain, he is replying to whatever questions were raised regarding his act of writing the name of his beloved in the bank. See, when he was writing the name of his beloved, somehow this thing was in his mind, that he wanted to prove the depth of his love to his beloved, and the only way that he knew was somehow to make her eternal. So when that thing got wasted, when that writing the name on the bank got wasted, he devised a new method, and that was to write a poem in the you can say celebrating the virtues of his beloved, and by way of that he made her immortal. Now this is the couplet part, where when as death shall all the world subdue, our love shall live and later life renew. He says, when on the doomsday all the world will die. There is this concept of doomsday in Christianity, and more so this concept is there in all the religions, that one day the whole world is going to die. Like in Islamic culture, they call it the day of Qiyamah. In Hinduism, they call it pralay. Similarly, in Christianity, there is the concept of doomsday, when all the living persons will die. So he says, when death will subdue, overcome the whole world, even at that time, our love will live, and it will be giving inspiration to the posterity, to the generations to come. So in this way, he is trying to prove that all the things in this world are subjected to decay, but love is not going to die. It will remain forever and ever. That's it for today.